Hello and welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel, and welcome to your final video of the 2025-26 season. Some would say that is a fantastic thing to be saying, particularly after the last 12 weeks. I think everyone would be delighted to get this season out the way. I'm joined by Charlie Zazera. We're going to be going through a variety of things from Coventry game yesterday, which Watford lost 4-0. A really, really terrible end to what's been a terrible few weeks. Ed Still, we finally got confirmation this morning that he has left the football club. But we're also going to be looking at Watford's end of season form, our award winners that were announced yesterday. And we're also going to be reacting to our predictions from pre-season, which is always a good laugh. We've had some stinkers. I think this must be the third or fourth year that we're doing for it. And it's always good fun. But we're also going to talk about the Mental Health World Cup, which is now less than 1 week away. Charlie, first off, how are you? All good?
I'm good. I can hear your voice is a bit croaky, so I'll try to save you as much talking. Was that from all the booing yesterday, sir?
Yeah, there was a bit of voicing my frustrations, and my voice is a bit croaky from that.
No, fair play. And congrats on the London Marathon.
Oh, thank you. Unbelievable day. So many Watford fans out as well. Genuinely, so many Watford fans, Watford shirts, Watford flags, and yeah, definitely gave me that extra boost that I needed. I felt a couple of people sort of knew me from the channel as well, so shouted my name and stuff. So that was really good, really good. Fantastic day out though. Looking forward to raising more money for charity next week though, Charlie. Mental Health World Cup at the Vic.
Mental Health World Cup, less than a week away, like you said, Sam. We announced today that William Troost-Ekong is going to be coming down as a special guest player. So I thought the lineup couldn't get any better, and it has. Really excited to see everyone down there. I just can't believe we're giving kind of the amount of people who've said they'd come down and play, like giving people the chance to play with their heroes or former players. I think it's going to be a really special day. So if you haven't already, make sure you get tickets. The link will be in the description. We've also got an online auction where this week we've added signed Bove's shirt, signed Iran Kunda's shirt, and hopefully we'll have more bits. So go and check it out. And yeah, and if you are playing and you want to have some serious players on your team, who have you got? Tommy Smith, Robbo, Tommy Mooney, Craig Cathcart, Anthony McNamee, and William Troost-Ekong. So
and Tommy Hoban, the Tommies, all the Tommies.
Tommy Hoban, yeah, it's going to be a Tommy fest. But some serious players, hopefully, going to be knocking the academy coaches off the top. And if anyone doesn't know, we've got Charlie Daniels, Lloyd Doyley, Adrian Mariappa, Dan Gosling playing in there. So star-studded lineup, as well as Sam Yuko and our old pal Jacob Coleshaw is going to be there as well. Sam, should we get the tough talk out of the way? I wrote on the running order thoughts on Middlesbrough, but let's not waste our time on that. Coventry.
Bad day. Well,
bad day. I mean, we've got a really bad record for final days of the season. I think we've won like 2 out of 13. But how did yesterday compare to all the ones you can remember?
I mean, we'd never been good on the last day of the season. Do you know what actually sat there yesterday? What it really reminded me of, and obviously Cover, a fantastic team, and Watford sort of on the beach, so to speak, as well. It really reminded me of under Walter Mazzari on the last game of the season, and we played Man City, and I think we also lost 4-0 that day, or it might have been 5-0. And that day was really, really toxic. Probably one of our most toxic games in that era in the Premier League. If you remember, we had we had a couple of academy players playing. We had 2 goalkeepers on the bench. We got an injury early on, and he deliberately decided not to bring on Troy Deeney because him and Troy had fallen out or something. And it got really, really toxic in the ground just for that. And there was a little bit of me. I mean, it was toxic is the wrong word yesterday because it wasn't. But what was really, really upsetting for me being there was the acceptance among the Watford fans. I'm not saying the acceptance of the regime and stuff, because there were a few anti-Pozzo chants and whatever, but more the acceptance that this is what we've come to expect of this team. This is what we've seen so many times this season, particularly over the last 2 months, that, all right, we see a couple of nice passages of play. And I do think, again, yesterday we saw a couple of nice passages. against Middlesbrough in that first half. We went in at 2-0 down, but that was arguably our best half of the last 2 months. I thought we were quite good in that first half at the Riverside. But this Watford team are just so fragile. Don't take their chances. When the crowd are on their back, they don't know how to respond. Concede goals too easily. And I almost feel like the default position is that we're going to get battered in every single game. And because of that mindset, I think this season is coming to an end at the right time. I dread to think if there was another 5 games where we could end up. So yeah, a difficult day watching from afar. What did you? Because I feel like being in the ground yesterday and almost having that lack of interest and that I personally found I had. What was it like watching in terms of the actual performance? What did you make of it? Because I mean, Coventry, as expected, they didn't get out of first gear. I don't think, did they?
No, they didn't get out of first gear, and when they beat us 4-0, you kind of think, I don't know. I thought the scoreline was actually unfair. If you look at like Sims' second goal and Torp's goal, like 2 really, really impressive goals. But like you said, Coventry didn't have to get out of second gear. The first goal, our defending, I don't want to pick out individual players, but Sabagoka is really, really poor. I thought it was shocking yesterday, and I don't think he's been great at all since he's come in. But yeah, that really poor. I thought for Sims first and third, he was kind of the poorest out of everyone. And like we did have a good kind of response, especially led by Aaron Kunda, where had that one cleared off the line. That was a really good attempt, showing his pace, and then he hit the post afterwards. But I just think yesterday was a culmination of this season. 3 different coaches. The lack of cohesion is actually scary. It's like
scary.
It's like the players have literally never played against each other. We're breaking away and it's 3-on-3, and people don't know whether to pass right, left, through the middle. People are running into each other. We're having shots on goal that are hitting our players. Like it was just it was pretty painful to watch, and it's pretty, like you said, it's scary where we could be if there was another 5 games, because this team desperately needed the season to end. And yeah, it ended in a 4-0. What was it? People, what was it like? I think I asked you guys. Obviously, end of the season, we're used to kind of a bit of a lap of honour. But did you stick around, or what was it like? What was it like on full time whistle?
Yeah.
And how did the fans kind of react to that performance in the season, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you say, it finished 4-0 there, Charlie, before I come on to that. I dread to think if Coventry played their full-strength team and were trying, what that could have ended up.
I thought they were poor. I thought they were chilled.
Yeah, by their standards. I mean, not that they'd care, of course, but wow. I stayed at the end just out of pure intrigue more than anything else in terms of the reception. I think having the Cov fans in that corner celebrating their title win again in the corner, and the contrast in the rest of the stadium was just astonishing. A lot more stayed than I thought would. A lot more clapped than I thought would. And we spoke about this on the last video. That's not me judging people who clapped and showed their appreciation to the players. People have a right to do whatever they want when they're supporting their team. They've paid their money. But I was surprised by how many were clapping. A few half-hearted boos, but I think this season has just almost sucked the energy so much out of everyone, really, that I think the energy to boo and really show discontent when we're not going to see these players again. We're not going to see if there's a reaction to this now for 3 months. People didn't really have the energy, I think, to boo. And to be honest, when the full-time whistle went, it was more of a sigh of relief in the stadium that this is all over now. And that's not just from the fans, that's from the players on the pitch. I think they'll be delighted to get out of there as well. I don't think I've seen a Watford team need the summer to come as much as it has now. So, yeah, a really difficult end to the season. My question for you, Charlie, because you spoke there about cohesion and being in the ground as well. There's very few, I think, players that the fans really, really want to get behind, understandably so. obviously we'll all get behind Watford. We all support Watford, but in terms of a real love for certain players, they're few and far between, I think, in this squad. Does a part of you feel sorry for these players, or do you think that it's purely down to, not down to them because we know this is partly down to them, partly down to the coaches, but do you think that they've instigated the situation themselves?
I really feel for the players, and I think that might be an unpopular opinion. And look, every player should have pride and have that professionalism to give 100%. But we've spoken about how many times that C word of culture, and all of these players have had what, 8? Well, not the new ones, but even the new players have had 3 coaches. So what are the ones who've been here 2, 3, 4 years? They've had up to double figures, and the it's just an absolute drain. It must be for the players, everyone involved, and I do feel sorry for them, because I do think, especially this season, not only is there a talented squad, so they must be so frustrated that they're not able to show their best selves, because there's no environment, or there's no structure, or there's no consistency for them to perform. And yeah, it's just the way, I'm going to say it again. For me, like, I know Scott done his statement before the game, but I'm laser focused on Gino Pozzo, and he has caused this. And the scary thing for me, Sam, is like how we turn this around. Can we turn this around? And yeah, I mean, obviously Ed still lost his job today, but this next appointment, which I have zero faith in them getting right, but they have to give it to someone who is going to have a hold on this culture and be allowed to do that. And I bet you, like, I'm saying this and you're just like, it's never going to happen. But
no, I mean, look, this isn't a dig at you, Charlie, but I feel like we've been saying this every time we've sacked a manager for the last 3 years.
But this one needs, because it's so bad. Like, we're not going to get by on quality alone. This one, we have to get someone who can run the dressing room, call the shots, not be undermined, make decisions, be involved in transfers with some kind of long-term view. And even if that's just 1 year, it's a real scary situation we're in. Ed Steele's got sacked today. Feel sorry for him as well. Obviously, done a bad job, but
feel for him.
Like, I even feel a bit sorry for him, the fact that he's had to kind of work, and do you know what I mean, in the last couple of weeks when he probably knew he was going to get sacked. How must that feel?
Yeah,
knowing. So yeah, like, I just think we all need a breather now. I think Adam Drury reported that there's no imminent head coach that's going to be appointed. So hopefully, I know Gino Pozzo doesn't believe or hasn't heard of an interview process before, but hopefully they take their time on this, really think about why this season has been so bad, and make a sensible decision that is going to help us kind of build a foundation for next season. Forget about promotion next season. We need to turn back into becoming a functioning football club.
Definitely. I mean,
I don't know if you go on.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, I feel really sorry for Ed Still. I thought the statement from the club was poor as well, for not thanking him. Yeah. I mean, look, I think Ed Still, I've said it before, I think he was out of his depth, but he should never have been given the job in the first place. That being said, he's been hung out to dry completely for having to be the face of what has been a terrible end to the season, which I don't think is his fault at all, really. You mentioned there, and he's known for weeks. I think Adam Drury said that it became very apparent after QPR at the start of April that he wasn't going to be here next season. And because of that, I don't think it's coincidence that we lost 6 of our last 7 games after that, with the other one being the draw at home to Charlton. Because why would the players support and get behind someone who they know is off when they know they're probably going to be off as well? So a terrible, terrible situation. Before we look at just the award winners from the end of the season as well, and I must say as well, we're not going to go, I don't think, for now too much into the Ed Still sacking, because we've said it so many times before, and it's about the culture and etc. Before we go on to the end of season awards, you mentioned that, Charlie, in terms of what you're looking for from a manager for next year. And I think we all know it's culture. If I asked you to make a prediction, where will we be when we're doing our end of season, reacting to our predictions? Where do you think Watford would have finished the season?
What do you mean for next season?
The next season.
So you're saying if I had to predict where we're going to finish next season?
Yeah.
That is a real hospital pass.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's not on our running order for everyone, by the way.
How can I predict with no context? I would like to think that we're going to have enough talent in our squad that we would survive, but I have no confidence saying that. And if you look at culture, form, vibe at the moment, it's not good. Like, we could be in real trouble. So I'd probably say, what, 20th, 19th, 18th?
I'm very sorry for the hospital pass there, Charlie. I do. Yeah, look, my worry is that we do tend to see teams struggle when they end the season so badly. And like we've said already, this end of the season has come at a good time. I mean, hopefully, if they'd finished 2 or 3 weeks earlier, even better. But it's come at a good time now. The players need to, and people might not like this because of how bad it's been this season. People might think footballers they don't need more holidays, they don't need time away. I think some of those players need to get away, get Watford, get football out of their head for the next few weeks, come back, just start fresh basically. But my fear is that if we go 1-0 down in the first game of next season without good transfer business, then yeah, could be a long few weeks. Bit more positive, Charlie. Watford's end of season awards were given out, some controversial ones as well in there. Sort of for the goal of the season, Jeremy Ngakia won it for his lovely finish against Bristol City. A highlight of this season for me, right up there. Deserved winner. Who else could have got it, do you think?
I actually think Imran Louza is probably feeling a bit hard done by. I think in our last video we said we would vote for him because he's for his Southampton free kick, and mainly kind of what a game that was, and kind of being in the rookery and celebrating that. I actually think the best technical goal was Imran Louza's for Stoke away, because we were 2-0 down and it didn't mean anything. But Ngakia to do that late on to win an away day for a right back, I think that's pretty good going. And I'm happy for Ngakia. I think he had a pretty decent season. Obviously got a bit injured at the end, but he's one of the lads who can kind of hold his head up high. And next season, I'll be more than happy for him to kind of continue at right back. Young player, Othman Mama.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you called it last week, didn't you? And I said that he'd actually been in contention for player of the season as well. From the rookery end, I think summed up really well today for a player who we thought was almost going to be a project player this year. We didn't know if he was going to go out on loan, did we? That was the initial thought was he'll go out on loan. And then I actually think it was Paolo Pezzolano who watched him in after 1 or 2 training sessions when no, we need this guy to stick around. A bit of a slow start, then obviously went to the Under-20 World Cup, came back, and during that December-January period was absolutely brilliant until he picked up an injury. A really good season for Mama. Hope we can keep him next season. My gut is I don't think as many players will leave as people think. But unfortunately, my gut is Mama will be one of those who do move on.
Maybe yesterday he's playing 4D chess, because I thought he had a bit of a stink yesterday. And I read online that the Morocco scouts or the team were looking at him ahead of. Are they in the World Cup, Morocco? I think they are.
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah.
So,
they're like Scotland's group, actually, I think.
Yeah, and even I think there was reports a couple of weeks ago that we might have offered him a new contract. So, yeah, I think he's been one of the brightest sparks of a bad season, which goes to kind of player of the season, Sam. Matty Pollock, bit of a surprise. How do you feel about it?
Well, one of the most controversial players of the season situations in recent years. Not the fact that Matty won it. I'm delighted for him. Someone who I think is one of the only people in the dressing room who really get it at the moment. Well, his performance levels, I think, he struggled in the last few weeks, as a lot of the squad have, and it's difficult when there's so much going on around you. I think he's one of the few who really do get it. And we heard after his Oxford interview his thoughts on it. I think on social media yesterday, he said, like, this has not been good enough at all. And I think an element of that, as well as being relatively consistent, I think, and his professionalism was really, really good. I think that's why he won it, which I don't think Imran Louza has taken too kindly to, judging by his socials, Charlie.
Oh, Imran. Disappointing to see. I think we spoke about it last week when we spoke about Imran, and we talked about that petulance. And yeah, if he's unhappy because he hasn't won Player of the Season, yeah, I don't really have too much to say on it. I think that just goes to show that vote, that fans value application more than talent. And I think that's one thing that you can't argue against Matty Pollock.
Yeah.
He's applied himself every time, really. He's played for Watford. He hasn't had, not every game's been perfect, but you can't doubt that. And we need more Matty Pollocks. We've been relying on him to be our main leader, but what is he, 24, 23? Yeah. So, yeah, I think that would be the last game we've seen of Imran Louza. How do you reflect on his Watford career?
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag, hasn't it? For Imran, when he came in, and I've said this, it blows my mind sometimes that how long he's actually been here for. That Troy Deeney's last game for Watford was Imran Louza's debut against Brighton. I think there's two sides to it. I mean, I think everyone will say, and I think Imran will say it himself, I don't think he hit the heights that he could have done. And I don't think he would have thought when he signed for us in 2021 that he'd still be with us in 2026. That's been down to a variety of things, injuries. He had that terrible injury at Millwall away, which I think will live with a lot of Watford fans. That was a difficult night, not least because of that Louza injury, which happened right in front of that away end. And you could see straight away the pain that he was in. He missed the World Cup afterwards. And also because of the amount of managers he's gone through. That's no good for anyone's career. In the 5 years that he's been here, he's been managed by Xisco, Ranieri, Roy Hodgson, Rob Edwards, who was after Edwards, Bilic, Chris Wilder, Ishmael, Cleverley, who was after Clevs, Petzolano, Javi Gracia, and Ed Still. Like, that's in the space of 5 years. Like, that's no good for anyone's development. So in that respect, I do feel sorry for Imran Louza. That being said, I think body language and the way you act off the pitch goes a long, long way, particularly when you're a captain. And we've seen a couple of social media blow-ups in his time at Watford. I think there was one where at one point he was exiled from the squad. I'm not sure which manager that was under. And he was Valerian Ishmael, and he was putting stuff on his social media, wasn't he, of him training in the gym by himself. And then not even yesterday, it feels like it's come quite full circle with him having a block because he didn't win Player of the Season. So, yeah, an incredibly talented player. I don't think he'll go down as a Watford great by any stretch, but he did provide us with some good moments, and particularly, I think he did peak in his last season with us, last couple of seasons, last season, and now a couple of months this season too. But yeah, where how will you remember Imran Louza, Charlie?
Do you know what? So frustrating, because probably one of the most talented players we would have had, but we haven't seen near it on a consistent level. And I think the fact that he's been our captain has been a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
We don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but it just makes me laugh every time like something's happening in the game and you can see like him arguing with the ref and Matty Pollock's kind of by his side, like actually communicating. And I think the fact that Imran Louza has been our captain has not helped us one bit. And one thing that I'll actually kind of pull Ed Still up a bit on is him saying, there's some characters in here who don't want to be here next season. But yeah, he's played basically the same team quite a lot. We saw Imran Louza get dropped against West Brom for the first half. But that's one thing I was a bit disappointed with Ed, especially yesterday, not to put Jack Greaves in from the start or give Nabazada more minutes. I think that would have, we wouldn't have done any worse, would we? So, we'll say goodbye to Imran Louza, I'm sure. But should we just put a pin in this season before we look at our predictions and have a bit of a laugh?
Yeah, let's go with it, Charlie. 2 more questions for you just on this season before we wrap up.
Better be kind.
First of all, I want you to rate this season out of 10.
2.
2.
I think relegation would have been a 1 or a 0. And maybe that is a bit harsh, considering we were 4th on January the 1st. We had good moments. We've had a handful maybe of like really good moments. I think the highlight for me was that Bove goal against Wrexham. I think that was under Ed still actually, but I think the tone was set from the start with Pezzolano coming in and the lack of a connection, which is quite obvious. I kind of tweeted it yesterday, but mad how where we got the same points as last year. I think the difference between the last day of last season when we drew to Sheffield Wednesday and the whole of Rookery is serenading Tom Cleverley compared to what the Rookery would have been like in the whole stadium yesterday. But yeah, this season I just think one word I would call is failure, and that's from Gino Pozzo. And the leadership, we saw the statements after Cleverley went and getting Pezzolano in, who was obviously a wrong fit. Players didn't get along with him. Bringing in Javi, who, again, they're just trying to overcompensate with what they think the problem is by just going with the complete opposite. Everyone loved Javi, but the fact that Javi didn't have the stomach for the fight left us in another precarious position. And then going from saying at the start of the season that we need an experienced manager to then hiring Ed Still is quite frankly laughable. So it's a 2 for me. Sam, give me your rating, and you can. I don't know if you want to add anything about how you feel of the season at all. And then I was going to ask for your best and worst moment of the season.
Yeah, before I do that as well, a huge thank you as well to everyone who has got involved with our £1 for every goal that Watford have scored this season. We've decided to combine the last 2 months, April and May.
Have we got any money to donate?
Well, we scored 3 goals across April and May and across our last 8 games. So we'll round it up. We'll round it up slightly, Charlie. I think Watford scored 53 goals this season. I think we've donated each slightly a little bit more because there's just been some months where we haven't scored any, basically. So yeah, a huge thank you again. It might seem like a little amount every single time. It might only be £3 or £4 a month, but it all adds together. And if you want to get involved, send us any final donations or donate your £3 for the goals across April or May, then that would be really appreciated. And we go again next season. In terms of my rating for this season, I've decided to split up into 3 in terms of the managers. So I've gone with, under Paolo Pezzolano, I've gone with a 3 out of 10. Under Javi, I've gone with a 6. And under Ed Still, I've gone with a 1. So that's overall a 10, but if I'm dividing that over 3, I'm gone with a 3 as well, basically 3.3. So yeah, really disappointing season. Without doubt, it peaked in that December period. My highlight of the season actually comes a little bit before that. Derby away, Edo Kayembe's winner. That was our first away win in absolutely ages, and to come from 2-0 down to do it was just brilliant. And I think you can enjoy those moments in isolation, no matter how bad a season is or how bad it's going. Like that Derby away game will live long in the memory for me, at least. And in terms of a worst moment, where to start, really? I mean, there's been some comical ones, haven't there? To think this season we had, do you remember when the first day when Valon Barami was having a go at the 4th official against Charlton? Only Watford would do that. I think just I wasn't there. Seeing the full-time scenes against Oxford was difficult. Yeah, I'd probably go with that. What would you say if you had to nail down the worst moment?
Do you know what? I wasn't at either games, but it was a real, probably the most disappointed I've been. And it probably was that Millwall game. I was actually still in hospital after my hip operation, and there was a bit of optimism and a bit of hope going into that one, wasn't it? Off the back of a really good Christmas period. And I think we followed that up with a really miserable performance against Swansea at home as well.
Yeah.
Where we lost. And that was just the kind of tip of the iceberg, really, where it all went to the proverbials, as they say. So, yeah, I tell you, yesterday I had one hope for yesterday, and that was to finish again above QPR. We couldn't even do that.
Yeah.
That's how low we've fallen. Anything else on the season before we have a laugh at our season predictions?
No, let's get out of the way and never talk about it again, please.
All right, Sam, I've got all the nominations for what we went for our predictions. So we'll go through one by one, and then we'll take a pause and react to each. I know the first one's quite a long clip, so I apologise. But the first one, we predicted who we think is going to be our top goal scorer this season. I have to follow everyone else and go for Luka Kurumgard. I mean, from the bits I've seen him at Watford, he's looked okay. I think he looked a lot better against Deportivo than he did against Leyton Orient. His link up, he's got really good feet for a big man. First cliche in there of the season. And yeah, he looks like a handful. He's got a good assist for Greaves the other day, like wins the ball back. He's a lot more mobile than Rajovic was. And the way the club spoke about him being their number one target, I think we saw clubs like Napoli were in for him. Yeah, I think all signs lead to him being that 9, him starting. And I think with the better players around him, he should be the one who should be in the box sniffing chances out. And yeah, for me, he's got to be the top goal scorer.
I've gone with Luka Kurumgard as well. Maybe it's a bit of a safe bet, this one. But I just think from what everyone's saying, we've heard the names of sort of Dini, Vidra, Igalo banded about in terms of what Watford are trying to build this season. And we do have some really exciting attacking talent in that area, I think, in terms of we've got Mama, we've got Semedo as well as I think there's a plausible shout that Quadro Bar, maybe not top scorer, but definitely the most goal involvements, I think, if he manages to stay fit this season with goals and assists. So I think Luka is probably the most likely shout, but I think we'll also see plenty of assists from him as well. If what we've seen so far is based to go on. Like you said, his link-up play is really good. He seems quite strong. I quite like his upper body strength from what I've seen, and he's able to move quite quickly as well for someone of his size. So I think definitely, and everyone I spoke to as well in the build-up have said that Luka should be our top scorer. Wow. Yeah, I mean, we got it right in the end, didn't we? In terms of Luka being the top scorer. But
you know what? I'm gonna put my neck out, and I die on this hill, and a lot of people aren't having Luka at all. But I still think there's a player in there. I just think we've horribly platformed him, not got the best out of him, not played to his strengths, and it's made him look awful. I mean, the last 3 or 4 months, I feel like our build-up has just been kicking it like route 1 to him, try and get him to muscle 2 defenders to bring it down with no one around him. I think we have seen some really smart finishes from him. But again, I think the only one I can really remember was actually in the Middlesbrough game. He kind of raced through and hit the post, didn't he? So I think there's still a player there. I still think do you think he's our best option up front compared to Doumbia and Semedo? How do you judge their seasons and his? And I remember that statement about comparing Vidra, Forestieri.
God. Yeah, I feel sorry for Luka. I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he'll be back here next season either. But yeah, in terms of the competition, Semedo scored some big goals. That's the reality as well. That he scored those 2 against Wednesday. He scored 2 huge goals. Scored the winner against Norwich. Scored the winner against, I think, Oxford or Hull at home. I can't remember which. Those 2 games were like the exact same in the space of a week, winning 2-1 at home. So yeah, so he scored some big goals. I've been disappointed in Doumbia this season. I thought we'd see a lot more of him. It just seemed to be a very broken up season, didn't it? Positional wise, at the first day of the season, we saw him playing out wide. Was that the first day? I think it was.
Left wing.
Yeah, then he was injured for a bit, and then he came back, never really started games, then went off to AFCON, came back, got injured, and then was just in and out of the team. And I was really hoping for a lot more from Mamadou Doumbia this season and to put a lot more pressure, because if he had a good season, I think he would have been starting by the end of it, but wasn't to be. I mean, yeah, you don't think Luke will be here next season either?
I think he will. And I hope he is. Like I said, I think there's a player in there. And I don't think we should kind of, I'm sure people will say he hasn't developed much, but he would have learned a lot from that season, learned how Championship defenders play against him. And I just imagine if we were like a team who like crossed the ball at a half decent rate compared to like the amount of, like all of his assists came from Ngakia, but we can't rely on Ngakia being the only one who crosses. So I think there's a player in there. Should we go to the next category, which was the biggest surprise?
The biggest surprise. Let's go, Charlie.
My biggest surprise this season, and I think people are sleeping on him, and I don't know why, because we haven't seen much of him in pre-season, but I think Georgie Chatfadazzi is going to get 15 goal involvements this season.
God.
I think he's going to be playing in this number 10 position. That looks like Pesolano wants to play. I think he's going to be having better players around him to feed him. And he's got another season in the Championship. He's 25. He's got that bit more experience than some of the youngsters won't have. And he's just a really, really good player. This time last year, the first game of the season, we saw him whip that free kick in. So I'm no doubt that it might take him a bit of time to get into the season because he's coming back from that injury. But I think he's going to nearly double his output last season. I think he got, what did he get last season? Like maybe 2 goals and 6 assists last season for goal involvement. So I think he's nearly going to double that.
My surprise player, and a bit of a different vein to you, but just going off again what I've seen in pre-season, what I've heard in pre-season, what I saw off the back end of last season. Even though I wasn't the biggest fan of him, I'd say for the first 3 quarters, I've gone with Musa Sissoko as my biggest surprise.
God.
I think we could potentially see him involved a lot more than people think. It's a young team. I think he's going to want to have that experienced head in there. It might be his last season almost at this level, Sissoko.
Oh, Sam.
That might be the worst one I've ever done, you know.
With my Georgie Chatfadazzi shout, I was like, oh, this is horrible.
What was I thinking?
Georgie, by the way, didn't score this season.
Yeah, I was thinking he didn't score, did he?
That's real poor. He got 3 assists, so I know I predicted him to get 15 goal involvements.
Just on Georgie, Charlie, we won't spend too long on each prediction because we've got quite a few to get through. But I mean, he worked his way back from injury. It was out for the first few months of the season, but yeah, just didn't hit the heights, did he?
Yeah, that injury was a lot worse than everyone thought, wasn't it? Yeah. And even when he came back, he was kind of really, really drip fed into the team. So really tough one for Georgia. It'd be interesting to see whether he goes or not. Georgia didn't qualify for the World Cup, so he's not going to be able to showcase. So it's hard. I don't know, unless the team's really smart, because we do know there's a top quality player in there, but he's with his injury record not going to form. So it'd be interesting to see whether he stays or goes. But Musa Sissoko, you just done me there. Did you see that one coming?
Do you know what? Listening to my rationale back, I don't think I was actually wrong, because Scott Duxbury said as many words in his statement yesterday in terms of it being
and he's always spot on, to be fair.
And Scott is always spot on. But no, I think we could all see that this young Watford team were crying out for more leadership and some experienced players in there. And I think maybe I looked at pre-season and thought Sissoko was probably the best that we were going to get with who we had signed at that point, which is why I thought he'd play a lot more under Paolo Pezzolano, and could play a lot more this season and maybe, I don't know, do some good bits. But he was off in January, wasn't impressive at all. And yeah, I mean, I know that whole game is often pinpointed now as the turning point in our season, but I remember at the time some people were actually relieved that the game was called off after seeing Sissoko was starting.
By the way, did Hull make the playoffs because of that icy side of the pitch?
God.
Crooks. Anyway, next one is
controversial, isn't it?
Head coach. How many head coaches would we have this season? I think with the expectation now that Gino said in terms of wanting to get playoffs, I think when you look at our fixtures around Christmas time, they're really tough. I think there's going to be a month where we have really bad form, and I think he's going to pull the trigger and roll the dice that one more time. Yeah. I think he's got such a big job, like getting that connection with the fan base.
Yeah, I'm 2 as well. And the majority of people we asked on this one was 2. Obviously, I want Paolo to do well, and I'm completely behind him. I just think he doesn't have time to win over the fans. I think he has to hit the ground running straight away. If we don't, for example, win any of our first 3 games, 5 games, 6 games, or we don't get off to a good start, I can almost guarantee there will be chance of, for example, Tom Cleverley's name in the stands. I just think it's inevitable.
Do you know what? I was actually quite, don't want to say close to, I said 3 games, but I remember we had conversations after we lost away at Charlton on the first day, 1-0. And then we had that midweek Carabao Cup game where we lost at home to Norwich. I remember saying this to you, Charlie, that if we'd lost to QPR that Saturday, I said the conversation's going to be had because you could see the players just weren't having him.
How long did he last? 9 games?
Something like 9. I mean, ironically, his last week was probably his best week when we picked up 7 points.
But who did we beat? Hull and Oxford, was it?
Hull, Oxford. And then we had that draw at Fratton Park where he took off Aaron Kunda after half an hour. And
do you remember his run into the away end and clapping?
Oh, God. And do you remember that dressing room video as well they put out of him saying he doesn't like anyone and we're not here to win games, and sorry, we're here to win games, not here to be friends. And yeah, 2 head coaches we went with. Yeah,
Amazon are missing a trick. Imagine if Amazon just filmed one of our seasons. It would be absolutely
just film a day, not even a season, just film a day.
Sam, random prediction up next.
I've said that at some point in the season, we're going to go unbeaten for 5 games in a row. I also think we're going to go through a period where we don't win 5 games in a row. That's my random prediction. Not sure how random it is, but a bit niche maybe. Charlie, what have you gone with?
I've gone for Quadro Bar is either going to score or assist versus Portsmouth.
Oh, I love that.
Looking at the fixtures, I think we've got, I don't know when we got Portsmouth away. I think it's before Christmas. He rattled an entire fan base there, and I'm backing him to rattle them once again this season. Hopefully he does it at Fratton Park, but that's my random prediction. I think you were a lot closer than me there, Sam.
Did you predict? Closer. Did we go 5? I know we won 4 in a row. We did. We went 7 unbeaten, actually.
We are massive.
We are so good. Oh, my God.
You didn't predict us to lose 5 in a row, though, did you?
Did I not say that there? I said that we'd go 5 unbeaten, then lose 5 in a row, didn't I?
Oh, did you say lose 5 in a row?
Did I lose 5 or winless in 5? Whatever it was, that end of the season was horrific. So I'll take that. That Quadro Bar one as well. I mean, yeah, I'll ask you the same question that we did about Georgie, and I'm sure Quadro might come up here again in one of the predictions. But yeah, I mean, another one that he wasn't in the squad yesterday, potentially a telling sign from Ed Still.
Not good. Yeah. Bad. It's poor season for Quadro, and I'm his biggest fan. Again, when did he get an injury early on? I remember that. Was it Derby? Was that the first one?
Yeah, he lost the ball and was tracking back and then pulled up.
Yeah, and like even his start to the season wasn't great. I think he started against Charlton, and then he was kind of coming off the bench. I remember him coming off against Southampton. He scored that really good goal, but he never got going. And it's hard because there's so much ability in there. Is another club going to put a bid in that's going to be significant for us to sell? I'd be surprised. He just really needs to hope that he can get fit and then he can connect with a manager. But I think he's another one who's been a victim to the culture. And he might have shown the worst discipline or the worst professionalism, and that's why we haven't seen him. And he might have that edge to him. But on the other hand, I'd say players like him, you need, it's the coach, it's the job of the club and the coach to try and get the best out of him. And he's that talented. I hope we don't give up on him, because on his day, he's the most exciting player to watch. Signing of the season, Sam.
Let's go.
I feel like mine was a bit of a cop-out because it was a player. I asked for permission, Charlie, to use this player because I was so big on him last season, is Caleb Wiley. I'm so happy that he has come back. I'm so big on this kid. I think he'll be unbelievable for not just for us, but I think throughout his career.
I can't look past Hector Cipriani, to be honest. I kind of bottled putting this as like a hot take, but I think in the future he could be a Watford captain. Watching him play and how he gets about the pitch is really, really impressive. That midfield of him and Louza, it looks really, really nice. I hope it plays out that way and those two can stay fit, because it looks like a really nice balance.
That's bad.
Caleb. Oh, dear.
Did he make an appearance? Maybe.
Playing against Sheffield United in Javi's first game. I remember that.
Yeah. Wow. Is he? I don't know if he's still even at the club getting treatment or if he went back.
Surely not.
I
But
don't know if he's still just sticking about. But
he had a really good end to last season, but
yeah,
mad. Is there?
I mean,
I don't want to blow. Go on. Anything else on Caleb?
yeah, no, I was going to say because he was like, I remember we played Burnley last year at home, and Pochettino was watching him for the USA squad. So yeah, poor him probably won't go to the World Cup.
I do wish again with the recruitment that we would not keep recruiting players who are already injured. Is there a case to say, I'm blowing my own trumpet a bit, but that our form at the end of the season kind of aligned with Hector Cipriano going out of the team? How do you assess his first season at the club?
Really good. I really like him. I think he did have some tricky periods, particularly I think back to that Birmingham away game. I want to say was when he really struggled in right at the start of December. Came out the team for a little bit under Javi, came back in and was much more like himself. Definitely some areas of the game I think he can work on. One thing I really liked was in one of Paolo's first games, it was Charlton on the first day. He probably should have scored from a header. He made that really late run into the box. But after that, I don't think we saw him do that again throughout the season, making those late runs in. So I'd like to see that a bit more because he also scored goals at Peterborough. So I think that's an area of his game that we can look at. And also, someone who can who's really bought into the community as well, donating a shirt as well for us that you can buy on the auction for the Mental Health World Cup. So yeah, I mean, I think there are 4 injuries that I really look at that have derailed our season. Not in the forward areas, but it's the 2 fullbacks with Mark Bowler, Jeremy Ngakia, Cipriano, and Stefan Mafuni. I think those 4 really derailed our season.
Who is sign of the season? Is it Mark Bowler or does Stefan Mafuni get a shout? Max Elaine, of course.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go Otman Marma just for the money that we're going to flip in the summer. That you imagine we're going to flip for him. Could be a £15 million player. Who knows? Because we're going to have to accept probably lower than we would have wanted to because of our current situation. But I go with Marma. What about you?
I think Mark Bowler. I think he was my player of the season. But yeah, let us know in the comments who you think is the signing of the season. We've got still quite a few to get through, so let's speed these up. Next one is hot take.
DCW saying that Jeremy Ngakia will score goal of the season. I love that shout.
My hot take is I think Mark Bowler is going to play more minutes than Caleb Wiley this season. And again, I don't know if I'm playing it safe and I don't know how hot it is. I think Mark Bowler's played most of the preseason. He's coming early where Caleb Wiley's only coming recently. I think Caleb Wiley got injured again at the back end of last season. I think the fact that Mark Bowler is versatile and can play as part of a back 3.
I'm not sure if it's hotter. Again, I think mine I've gone with is that we'll be completely fine in the right back position this season. I think it's a hot take because it's the area that I think a lot of people have flagged, particularly in the last few days with João Ferreira leaving. But I think we're completely fine in that area, to be honest. I was really impressed with Jeremy Ngakia last season. I think he pleasantly surprised me and a lot of other people. I think Ryan Andrews as well. I think he's a really, really promising player. I want to see a bit more from him this season. And the other player as well, I think we'll see play at right back at points this season is James Abankwah, who I mentioned before. I'm really excited by him. I'm really happy he's come back.
DCW. Wow. If you didn't hear, we put that at the start. He predicted Jeremy Ngakia to get goal of the season. What a guy. We'll
clip that up, but I had to include that in. Any other Ryan Andrews, should we have sold him?
I think it was right. I think we said at the time. I think
we replaced him with Jeremy Petrie and
well, I think the replacement wasn't adequate. But Ryan, I mean, poor fella, he's done his ACL and he hasn't played for half of this season. But I think it was probably right for both parties. I don't know.
I disagree. Like getting rid of another academy player who the fans had a connection with. I don't know.
Played European football, Ryan. Yeah. So I don't know.
That doesn't help us, Sam. Anyway, let's do young player of the season and player of the season back to back. I'm going to go for my young player of the season being James Abankwah. I think he's really, really good. I've seen quite a lot of comments coming in about he's got a mistake in him. I think he had a bit of a mistake against Deportivo, and I agree with that. But I also think he gets highlighted a lot more when you're a centre back and kind of you're the last line of defence. He showed an incredible recovery run against Deportivo. I think he's just going to get better and better.
I've gone with Quadro Bar. I just think we'll see him go up another level this season again. I'm hoping that he can stay fit for long periods. And I think he could be the real difference maker, not just in terms of Watford on a game-to-game basis, but also in us potentially fighting for the playoffs.
But I wanted to look at Georgie. But you had him as a young player of the season. If we can keep Quadro Bar fit, I think he's going to absolutely dominate this league and ruin defensive. And I think he's the one player that the big thing that is holding me back is his fitness, but I'm trying to manifest he stays injury-free.
Yeah, I've gone with a player that you've already spoken about a lot on this video. I've gone with Chatfatazzi. I think we'll see him go up another level this season. Spoke about his numbers earlier on in the video, but I just think with on paper, better players around him, we'll see a better version of Georgie Chatfatazzi, and it really, really excites me.
I feel a little bit sad listening to those, actually.
Yeah, just a quick word of James Abankwah. It took me until like Thursday last week to watch the Middlesbrough highlights back, but that game really kind of epitomises him a bit, and even what I said there about the mistake giving away the penalty, then showing like a really good bit of quality to score. What do you think about his season?
I mean, again, I think he's another one of those players that I put under that category of he's never going to develop with the amount of managerial changes and the lack of stability around him. I feel for him because we see some really, really good moments from Abankwah, but also some really difficult moments. I think it's clear that he's liked in the dressing room. I'd really like him back next season. Do I think he will come back? It's a 50-50 one, isn't it? Do you reckon he'll be back?
So who owns him?
Udinese. Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know. It was interesting when we saw Stephen Fooney's Instagram post.
Yeah.
A lot of messages saying sign the contract from like James Abankwah and other people. So who knows? Like, but if you're a young player of ambition, I would not judge any of them to try and look elsewhere. He played for Ireland, but anyway, next two we're going to do WD18 prediction, and we'll go for the big league position. Then there's one more after that.
I think we're going to have one Carragher, Thierry Henry moment on the stream where we'll be on stream and some big Watford breaking news happens.
I have gone for our very own Sam Yuko will appear on Sky Sports at one point this season.
2 wrong there out of 2.
The signings and keeping hold of the key players, my prediction has gone up. Looking at the whole league, big picture, looking at some of the business that other teams are doing, looking at Ipswich, Southampton, looking at Birmingham, what they're doing, who've just come up. And there's teams like Coventry. I can't see us getting in the playoffs. I'm going for an optimistic 11th place finish. I think we'll do the classic Watford and we will have a really good start to the year. We might kind of be in those playoff places at the start of the year and then when it comes to November, when it starts getting a bit dark and wet and cold, no, I just think it's a very Watfordy thing that we go up and we come down. But I think we will hit a bad run of form. And yeah, I think we'll middle out.
Yeah, I've gone with 12th. I couldn't decide if we'll be battling for playoffs or automatics or if we'd be in a relegation battle. So I've gone down the middle in 12th. Just such an unpredictable and difficult season to predict. My gut is very similar to you. I actually think we're going to have a pretty good start. But I think once those winter months hit, the pressure will be on Paolo. I think it will level out. And do you know what? If we come 12th, that's building on last season. That's a good season. I think for Gino and those upstairs, I think it would be a disastrous season not finishing in the top 6 because we know that that's where we're all going for.
Disastrous season if we don't finish top 6 for Gino. I think we've done pretty well there. I mean, we're not exactly Mystic Meg, but we got that pretty spot on. I mean, higher than we hoped, but
yeah. In terms of the season fizzling out, I think we said it would fizzle out a little bit earlier than it actually did. think it was January, February, really the wheels did fall off. But I just feel a bit sad listening to these predictions, not in terms of the hopefulness that we had a bit, but it's just we had such a talented squad this year that won't be here next year. I'd argue it's probably all round the most talented squad we've had since we've come down, and it's just a waste of a season. I heard Richie Wellens say everyone's wasted. He's a Leyton Orient. Did you hear what he said in terms of this season's being a waste of time? And I think you could just copy and paste that with Watford, and it would fit perfectly.
Hey, I don't want him to be too harsh on James Morris. Shout out Harry Welch. Hope you're well. Well done for doing every single game this season. Did you appear on Sky Sports News at any point?
Not in an official capacity, but I was the camera on Sky occasionally zoomed into me, if you want to count that.
Yeah, I'll count that. I'll take that. All right, I just wanted to get this last one in, but you are Sam, who we thought the promoted teams would be.
Which teams do you think, if you had to give the 3 teams you think will go up, who would you go with?
Ipswich, Coventry.
Wow.
I just look at Southampton strikers, absolutely ridiculous. They've got Cameron Archer, Ross Stewart. I think they're my 3. Ipswich, Southampton, and Coventry will finally make the jump. You?
Yeah, I'm Ipswich and Southampton, and I'm torn between quite a few clubs. I wasn't actually going to go with Leicester at all in my top 6, but then I saw Abdul Fattah's goal today, and he could genuinely drive Leicester into the top 6. But yeah, so I think Southampton and Ipswich. I think Southampton win the league, Ipswich second. I'm a really big fan of Ruben Selles.
Oh, God.
Could win the playoffs and get over last season's heartbreak. I think purely for Ruben Selles.
Oh, Sam, you're saving the best.
That was awful. Oh my God. Saying Fattah and Leicester to the top 6 and then going with Ruben Selles and Sheffield United. How long did Selles last? 5 games, 6 games before they decided Chris Wilder would come back?
Oh,
Screams God. Watford, by the way, Ruben Selles. I could see that. Awful. Mate, you got it pretty spot on. Southampton could win the playoffs as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to clip that up and put that out because that's just so good. Oh, I'm glad that I'm ending this video smiling, Sam. It's been emotional. What do you think about our predictions as a whole? Not as good as last year, especially mine.
Yeah, not as good, not as bad. Whichever way you want to go with it. Yeah, it's a disappointing one, and I'm really excited just to put an end to 2025, 2026. Charlie, we'll talk about Mental Health World Cup again in a second, but closing thoughts before we put an end to this season. Enjoyed it, hated it. Where does it rank in your life following Watford?
Not good, but we had a few good ones at the start of the season. Yeah, but not good. I'm looking forward to not thinking about it. Although I look forward to seeing everyone at Vicarage Road next Saturday. But that will be the vibes will be a lot better, I can assure you. And the football will probably be better as well. So yeah, last plug for Men's 12 World Cup. Get your tickets online. All different prices for adults, kids, but all the money's going to our mental health charities. If you are playing and you fancy playing with some of the players that we've got come down there, the auctions for the special guest player is going to end at midday on Friday. And then we'll give time to kind of contact you guys to confirm. And then the auction for the other items that closes on 3:30 on the day. And on the day, if you want to come down, we're going to have all of our auction items there, so you can see it in person, have a look, and you can kind of bid online while you're there. So please come down. If it's anything like last year was, it's going to be a special day. But the fact that we've got 40 teams, the fact that we've got so many more ex-players coming down, Nigel Gibbs is coming down as well. Luther Blissett's coming down as well to hand out the trophies like he did last season. So, yeah, it's going to be a great day. Please come and get involved. And if you can't, there's an option to donate online. I want to hit £100,000, Sam. Are we going to do it?
Let's hope so. What was last year? 65 or so?
65, yeah.
65. Well, I'd pay 65 grand alone to have Craig Cathcart in my six-a-side team. So Really hope we do it. Come down on the day. It's going to be a great day. Food, drink as well available. If you've got young kids, there's going to be activities for them as well. Everyone's going to have a chance to get involved as well. If you are playing as well, last year it was so good. Like, it was so good spirited. Everyone was really, really enjoying themselves having the chance. So please just remember, it's in the spirit of charity as well. So yeah, just try and enjoy it. And yeah, we look forward to seeing everyone down there on Saturday. Charlie, well, this is it. It's been a long season, an emotional one, but I've enjoyed it as always, having our weekly therapy sessions. So thank you as well for putting up with me every single week or every other week this season. Thanks to all our guests that we've had. What can people expect next season?
Who knows? Who knows, Sam? But yeah, like I said, I'm sure there's going to be new hope. There's going to be a new manager. It's going to be a busy summer. And yeah, I just can't wait for that August time when that hope's still there to see you. And then hopefully it will last more than the 90 minutes. But who knows? But yeah, Sam, it's been a pleasure. These ones are always a laugh, and I'm glad we could end on those predictions because yeah, your last one put a real smile on my face.
Thank you everyone for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. We'll be back in the summer, probably pre-season, looking at when the kits come out, the fixtures come out, etc. Come down to the Mental Health World Cup next week. Get involved with £1 for every goal that Watford score, and we'll see you next season. On to a brighter future. Up the Hornets. You want